Prashant. Okay. So good evening, everyone. I think there was some issue earlier. Thank you, Vikram Kothari, sir. I think he is going to join us later. Mr. Huzefa, Mr. Sijo, and NCL team, Mr. Sai Kiran. Renu ma'am is also going to join us after the SEBI meeting.
No, sir. Mostly I'll be there in the call. She will try to connect.
Okay. And the regulatory team for attending our CPI joint program on segregation of clients collateral and allocation. We did this program webinar on earlier circulars also when they were implemented, and in the month of May and August. On the highlight, the need and nucleus of this circular and of segregation, the regulator had come out with the framework for segregation and monitoring of collateral at the client level amidst instances of misuse of clients' money by some of the trading members. Such misuse was exposed, especially in the case of Carby stock broking scam, where the shares of clients were pledged illegally as collateral against the loan. Therefore, the segregation of clients' collateral will safeguard the collateral from being misused by the trading or clearing member. The SEBI's new margin rules, first phase was in the May and second was in August. At the start of May month, SEBI's new margin had come into effect and the penalty was effected from 1st of August 22. There has been a lot of talk about new rules in context of trading. So in today's webinar, let us understand what is the new rule is all about and how it will affect and impact the investors, traders, and the brokers. The structure of webinar is that Mr. Huzefa will give us brief about the circular, and from there, Mr. Sai Kiran will take it over, like what is expected from us as a member by the regulator and the exchange. Then few issues highlighted by our members have been compiled. Before we start, I request Mr. Ashok Agarwal ji, our mentor and chairman of Globe Capital, to give the comments on implementation of this circular and challenges he foresee as India's largest clearing member. Over to you, Ashok ji.
Thank you, Vadvaji. I think there is nothing much to say. So we have to implement it. Only thing is we need the API and maybe we need some clarification and exemption wherever practically there are difficulties like early paying, etc., which were, I think, some of the exemptions were there earlier also, but maybe some of them were in cash market only, and we need them in F&O also. So I think let us discuss the detailed aspect. So over to you, Vadvaji. And I think hopefully it will be a rewarding session. And best of luck. I think it is going to be a most comprehensive implementation. So it's going to be, but we have to do it. And there is no way we can ask for a postponement. But yes, we can definitely ask for API because that is badly needed. Without that, implementing it may not be practical. Yeah. Thank you, Vadvaji. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok ji. Now I request Mr. Huzefa to please explain us and our members the main points of this circular and what are we going to do to implement this, to be on the right side of the law and implement it properly. Over to you, Mr. Huzefa.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for us to come and explain you this. So actually the whole circular which was issued in July of 2022 has actually been, or July of 2021 has been fully implemented from May 2021. So there is no change in terms of implementation. The only change which is going to happen from 1st February is the way we monitor and identify shortages and levy penalty for short allocation. So in terms of how to allocate, what to allocate will remain as has been done since May of 2022. in addition, so today what we are doing is that members are required to upfront allocate the collateral prior to providing limits to the client. And it has to be at least sufficiently covered enough the minimum margins which are to be posted by the client. So today we have been providing members, they can allocate using file uploads or API or through screens. And this facility is available from morning 8 a.m. till evening 8 p.m. We have been monitoring the collateral allocation against the peak margin snapshot which we take intraday. And since August, we have been downloading intraday shortfalls also to the members along with EOD shortfalls. The penalty only gets applicable in case at EOD there is a shortfall. Now, in addition to the EOD shortfall, if there are any shortfall which are observed at intraday, so that data is already available for members to view it and watch it and see where the shortfalls are happening. The highest of intraday or EOD, like what happens in margin reporting, whatever is the highest amount will be considered as shortfall, and against that the penalty will start get applicable. So apart from the new penalty mechanism, there is no change in process. All other process in terms of allocation, providing the margin computation will continue as it is. As far as the exemption code, like sir was saying before, that there are some exemption codes available. So those exemption codes which are available for EOD will continue for intraday also. So people who sell securities and do early pay in later, they may get short allocation because at the time of peak margin, the early pay would have not happened. So they may get a short allocation and then they can report back saying that the EPI was done subsequently. Similar to for NRIs in cash market, the exemptions are available. Or if there are collaterals available with other CCs, the exemptions are available. In addition to this, we will be providing 2 more reason codes which can be used only for the intraday short allocation. One is an error trade. So in case some error trade happens in a wrong client code where there was no collateral and a peak margin snapshot came in, and the error code was then modified later during the day, people can report that reason code for an error trade. So in case an allocation happens in a wrong, or the trade happens in a wrong code and the allocation was not available, but it was subsequently modified, then in such instances, error code can be reported. One more this would be in case there are any delays in of processing the APIs or the file uploads. So if the member has done the allocation at CC, but the response have not come, but before the response is received, the trade happens and the peak margin snapshot also happens. Then in such rare instances, member can also report that reason code for exemption. So these are the major changes which will get impacted from Feb. Otherwise, in terms of information to the market, in terms of formats, no changes will happen. So that will continue as it is. So that's from the NCL point of view, sir.
Thank you, Zefaji. And so you have rightly explained the impact of this circular. Now I'll request Mr. Sai Kiran to please tell us what is expected from members from the SEBI point of view, from the exchange point of view, out of this circular. Over to you, Mr. Sai.
Thank you, Mr. Narendra. With respect to segregation, as we are having this MTF and non-MTF indicator which we have initiated, when reporting to the exchange, they have to specify as currently what they are reporting to the exchange under cash and cash equivalent submission. They have to specify this indicator, MTF and non-MTF indicator. And added to that, we have multiple data points with respect to government securities, the one which is retained by the TM, one which is placed with the CM, one which is retained with the CM, and one which is placed with the CC. These are the 4 different line items which need to be reported to the CC when they are reporting under segregation data. And there is another point with respect to uncleared receipts. The uncleared receipts which they are reporting as of now today in cash and cash equivalent as in check in transit, or the value of funds which are to be received by the trading member when there is an amount which has been transferred from the Atom or Razorpay, which is a payment aggregator through which they are transferring. They have to report the value out here. And in column bank guaranteed funded portion retained with CM, bank guarantee non-funded portion retained with CM. These are the two different line items which we have added. And added to that, there is an BG funded portion retained with NCL, and the non-funded portion placed with NCL. These are the four different line items which they are currently added, which are not currently available in the cash and cash equivalent submission. There is a settlement amount which the trading member actually transfers releases from the bank account. They have settled it on 7th of January, for example. They have settled it on 7th of January, but the amount has been paid off from the bank account of the trading member from the bank account of the trading member from 7th of January. Then they have to specify it when they are reporting this value on 7th Jan instead of 6th Jan. So as of now, today, there was no such value to be reported. This particular line item has been added. And in cash and cash equivalent, we have unsettled or unclaimed funds details, which are added in our settlement data. There is another line item called cash collateral for MTF positions, which is currently available in cash collateral, cash and cash equivalent position. There is no change. The same value has to be reported here. These are the things which need to be reported under segregation data. If any additional clarification is required, we can take question and answer sessions. We can explain in detail over there.
Thank you,
That's it from.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sai Kiran. Now I request my colleague, Mr. Virender Mansukhani, to take up the issues compiled by us from the member side. Over to you, Virender ji. Ajay ji is also there, so he'll also complete. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Sai, and thank you, Josefa, for the brief introduction. And so that we don't waste much time, we will just jump into the issues and we'll take them up one by one and then you can clarify. Some of these issues are actually more basic level issues. We've compiled because we received from a lot of members the request for clarification. And so they might be easy, but I mean, just so that, everybody has clarity. So just as Josefa was pointing out that if you sell, so these have been divided into multiple categories. First, I will take up point number 1. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes,
yes, we can.
Yeah. So the first set of questions are related to the EPI. So the first question is: will non-upfront allocation to sell POA stocks, basically for which the EPI is done by end of the day, will it result into penalty? I think Josefa already clarified that no, it will not be subject to any penalty. Is that correct, Josefa?
So, sir, you will get, so if you, let's assume you sell the stock at 10 o'clock and you do EPI only at end of day, in intraday, you will still get a short allocation reporting, because when we take the peak margin snapshot, there will be margin for the sell position and there will be no collateral allocation. So you will still get a short allocation file at end of day saying that there is a shortage for the sell side margins. Against which we have a facility by T+4, you can do a reporting. We call it as a short allocation reporting. It is similar to client margin reporting. People have to report it on the NMAS. And we have a reason code of 02. So they need to put the amount of margins which was levied on that sell position and a reason code as 02 in the file and report it back. Based on which the short allocation will be reduced to that extent. So they will get a short allocation. They need to do the subsequent reporting and then there will be no penalty. So in order to ensure that the penalty is not levied, this reporting is a must.
Okay, agreed. So the second related case is that if the client sells stock at 10 a.m., does EPI at the end of the day, and we allow the client to buy, say, stock of same value, because today we can allow him to do that, and we don't do any upfront allocation, will the reason code 02 cover such cases as well?
No, sir. So one is that when you can allow the credit, that maybe exchange compliance can clarify as to when the credit can be allowed by the members. But whenever such credits are allowed, it is not by the CC. So the credits are allowed by the member to the client, And for such credits, the allocation upfront is required. So before any 02 can be only for the sell side margins for stocks which you do early paying. For any other margin credit which you're going to give against the EPI, specific allocation needs to be done for that client code. So proprietary collateral needs to be allocated for such credit to such clients whom the credit is be provided before margins can be taken or positions can be taken against such credits. 02 reason code cannot be used. So the 02 reason code will be valid only in cash market, and it can be used only to cover the sell side margins for stocks which are sold and for which EPI is done subsequently.
Sai, I hope you are able to appreciate the concern from a member's perspective, because actually we are not non-compliant in a sense that we have adequate coverage from the customer. It's only a question of sequencing of the events, because what will happen this way is that we will all end up, first selling, and the biggest challenge is supposing 10 clients are doing a sell transaction, we don't know which of those might want to do a buy transaction. This then will require a huge jump of the front-end software, first asking for a limit, then going to the CC, uploading whatever the time frame it takes, and because the turnaround time is not clearly specified, if we don't get an acknowledgement in the front end, if there is any delay at the CC level, we will not actually pass on the limits to the customers. So this will result into a looping.
Yes, sir, we have taken note of this. We'll have to deliberate and come back to this particular point where EPI has been done EOD.
Okay. Right. So the next related question is, if the client sells stock at 10 a.m. today, the first prior example was buying in cash market. What if now I want to give him that allocation in F&O? Will that be possible, not possible, and or will it be treated as par with 1B example, or it will be treated differently from 1B?
So from CC's perspective, it is same, sir. Both the examples are same, sir.
Yeah, same. I was also supposed to.
So Sai, you are taking up for both 1B, 1C, or
yes, 1B and 1C both will be addressed at a single.
Okay, fine. Some of the other second set of queries is related to the funds. So when funds are received via payment gateway, so essentially most of the time members get funds on T+1 day. So whether in the new system also, the moment, for example, we get funds from a payment gateway, our limit for the client and lets the order pass. If we let that happen, will it allocate the capital and then allow the buyout? Huzefa?
So from our perspective, the allocation should happen, because when whether the funds are received or not, again, it may be an exchange compliance as to whether the limit can be given or not. But from CC's perspective, when we take the snapshot, if there is no allocation, it will be considered a short. And even if you have received funds, because if you have given a limit, I think the expectation is the allocation at CC should have happened.
And there is no challenge additionally from an exchange compliance perspective, because the funds are coming in on T+1. Supposing we do the allocation and the funds are coming by T+1, that doesn't present any challenge, does it, Sai?
That should not be a problem.
Okay. T+1 funds is not a challenge. Okay. And there is this, okay, so your answer then addresses the second question also, because they were saying if, sometimes the Razorpay gives us a credit information, but if it fails, the client sends net or does something. So then that question is also answered equally. Fine. So the next related question is similar. You just mentioned, Josefa mentioned that delays for upload, you will have a reason code. But it is hard to establish. How will we establish that we had given a request when the response has not come in? And the second part of that question is, if systems are going to do an integration, the systems will not wait indefinitely till they get an acknowledgement. There has to be some mechanism whereby the system front end knows that, okay, my request has reached process in 5-10 minutes, that's a separate problem, but it has reached the CC now, and I can go and increase the limit. How are we going to sort for this problem?
So, sir, for both the things, what we do even so today also when people upload, let's assume when they upload files, at the moment the file is accepted, an interim file is generated, which just shows the records under processing. So the moment the file is uploaded and we accept it, even if when the records are not processed, because each record have to be processed, but the moment the file is received at our system, we generate an interim file with an I0 extension, which confirms that the file has been received. Similarly, for API, the moment an API message is sent, we send an acknowledgement that the message is accepted. It does not confirm whether the API has been successfully processed, but at least it acknowledges that the API has been received. So as per the procedure for this, if somebody reports this error code, then we were going to look at the time when this file was either uploaded on the server or when the API message was received by us. So using that time, we will be monitoring if the shortfall or the reason code reported is correct or not. So these are the ways where people can check on the acknowledgement. So if both for file upload as well as API, before processing the request, we are acknowledging the receipt of data. Sir. But members will have to check this for all individual CCs separately as to how it will be done. But the reason codes are standard across the CC. So all CCs would provide, but how it will be monitored will have to be checked at individual CCs, sir.
Okay. So the next related question is that by what time can fund release request be processed by the CC? Because now members will try to keep maximum possible fund at the CC rather than keeping it at the bank. But if the customer suddenly requests and the money is lying at CC, till what time will be able to request and actually get back funds? 3:30 timeline presently, which gets released at 5, might be actually too difficult to implement in a real time kind of an environment. So will this timeline go up?
So I will again, sir, we'll just talk about NCL because each CC has their own procedure. So I'll just talk about NCL. There we have two types of release requests. One is an end of day and one is an so actually for cash it is three types. So one is an immediate one, which we accept request till around 4 o'clock, and by 4:30, 5 o'clock we ensure the funds are credited to the member. There is an end of day request where we accept request till 6 o'clock and funds are credited by around 8:39. So we process them after the allocation windows are closed so that all funds have been earmarked down and people can release the cash. So by around 8:39 is when the credit happens. And there's a value date where people can ask for requests today and the amounts get credited the next day. So today the request can be placed for end of day request and value date by 6 o'clock, sir. So if you feel that 6 o'clock may not be a good enough time, and I think the Excel suggests that it should be made to 7 p.m., we will definitely relook at that, sir. So we need some time to analyze that, but we will try and relook if the request can be accepted till 7 o'clock for EOD release.
Not just actually for EOD, even for immediate, because the problem is now, more fund is lying with CC, and therefore the need suddenly for clients, because even if the client requests for a payout release at 4 p.m., I might process it by 5:36 and then come to realize I need to withdraw funds from the CC.
So, sir, for immediate, we may require some amount of interfaces with the banking system also, and may not be an immediately implementable solution. But we will definitely look into that also. But as a first step, maybe increasing the EOD request till 7, we will take it up immediately, sir. Because that would not require any banking interface to change. But the immediate request where we have to process the funds and credit to the member's account, we require some banking interface implementation also. So we will definitely look at both of them, sir.
Okay. So before I come to the non-cash, because that's a very long topic, I'll just finish a couple of small topics and then we'll come to the non-cash part, because that is a bigger challenge. So the way the presently members have come back is that the problem is likely to be we will end up uploading 3 files every day. One at 9 a.m., one at 11 a.m., and the third at 2 p.m. Because at 9 a.m. the payment has not happened, at 11 a.m. the payment has happened, and at 2 p.m. the payout has happened. So to illustrate some of the examples which we got, so if client gives 100 and buys stock of 100 on T day, so now the question is we have to keep 20 rupees allocated on T plus 1 day also. Till what time? Because pain happens typically at 11. So members will end up having to block 120 bucks for every 100 rupees which the client has bought the stock. Because I have to keep 100 rupees as bank balance in my bank account and keep 20 rupees for allocation with the CC. That itself is something which is proving to be challenging. Will you be able to adjust the paying amount from the obligation, or you will let us drop at the start of the day any such buy trade margins so that the funds of paying can happen, or give a reason code to not penalize us for such cases?
So, sir, nothing like that as of now is there. But we will check with exchange compliance whether, because there was some discussion whether the settlement which are due today should be included in the peak margin computation. So, Sai sir, do you have any idea on that?
We were of the opinion that in the sense that particular value of margins which were to be settled, अभी जैसे T+2 का settlement का margins which are levied under peak margins to be excluded from peak calculation. That is where we were discussing. So we can deliberate once we have final discussion also.
So, sir, if once that happens, then we will not be doing any checks for the settlement which are getting dropped on the current day, and then definitely the allocations can be reversed and used for paying. So, if this happens, and so I think the exchange compliance is already in discussion with other exchanges and maybe SEBI also. So, if there is no requirement to include the margins which are getting settled on the current day in the peak margin snapshot, then definitely all the issues which are there of multiple allocations to be done during the day or handling this would not come in place, sir.
Okay, so size.
We have to add on to that. We have requested all cash CCs to work upon and give us a proposal on how exactly they will be excluding this T+2 margins on settlement day, the trade date margins on settlement day, so that there will not be any margin reportings to be done by the members for that particular settlement margin values.
Sir, but the related second example is slightly different. So the question is essentially, supposing client sold stock of 200 and bought stock of 120, the margin obligation, supposing you are saying you are going to waive for the purpose of peak, the question still remains, how much allocation will I be able to do it for him in the morning? Can I allocate 24 rupees, or I can allocate 80 rupees in the morning when the payout has not happened?
When we are excluding T+2 settlement value margin values, then total of your margin applicable for T day will be excluded, right?
Agreed. But the funds which I am allocating at 9 a.m. in the only by 2 p.m. on the trade day. So can I allocate that 80 rupees just like I can allocate in the evening, in the morning itself, or I cannot allocate those 80 rupees? This is the question.
Yeah, for the total stock which has been sold, the EPI which has been done, that has to be allocated. The EPI value which has been done. 80% of the EPI value can be allocated to that.
So is this? Sir, this is the correct understanding? 80.
नेट सेल ऑब्लिगेशन का जो ईपीआई है, नेट सेल ऑब्लिगेशन का जो ईपीआई वैल्यू है उसका 80%.
On the paying day, in any case, after paying is completed, next day we can allocate even 100 rupees. So if I have sold on first, say Monday, I have sold 100 rupees of stock and done EPI, then Tuesday I can pass on 100 rupees benefit. I don't need to pass 80 rupees benefit.
Yes,
80 is only in this.
T plus one you can do 100%.
Correct.
And T plus
So
one you
I
can do
can
100%.
okay, I can allocate. There is no need for an exemption code, etc. for this. Okay. The other related issue is that when we say API login, how many concurrent API logins will be permitted to a member? Because the challenge is that some funds are received through RTGS. My back office might be wanting to go and allocate those funds. I might have more than one trading platform. I might have an Odin, one Omnisys. So I will need API for each of my trading front ends. So you will allow us concurrent API logins, only one, or you will allow us 2, 3, 4 concurrent API logins?
So, sir, we are allowing, so from one IP, one login is allowed, and we are allowing 5 IPs to be configured currently. So you can configure 5 different IPs as such. So the allocations are monitored against the IP of the members. So 5 IPs you can configure, sir.
Okay. The other related span file changes intraday. For example, margin can go up, whereas currently the allocation requirement is as per the BOD span files. So when you will be computing peak, you will be computing only as per the BOD span file across the day, not as per I1, I2, but collecting as per I1, I2 or whatever the number is.
Yes, sir. So for monitoring of shortfall, it will be based on BOD span file for intraday and EOD span file for EOD.
And EOD as per EOD file, collection as per actual. Yes,
sir. So in case there is a short allocation, as per the actual span file, it will get blocked from proprietary. But if it is sufficient compared to the allocation is sufficient compared to BOD span file, no short allocation and no penalty.
Question, which was slightly more, so I thought I should finish the smaller issues first. So the first question is that which you are giving is closing price. So the sec pledge file where any changes happen because of the symbol wise limit getting freed up and my stock being already pledged getting some benefit. That plus the T plus 1 combined you give 11 p.m. So the BO do is we would want to compute by the which we are likely to provide to the different front ends in the evening itself. So the question give this sec pledge file much earlier, and if it is not possible, at least you give us the inherent components that how much benefit of each stock you'll be giving us the next day, so that we can go back and compute the numbers.
So, sir, two things are there. One is that we are trying to accommodate as many pledges are happening after market hours also in the sec pledge and allocation, so that people who have done post market hours pledges also get incorporated. And we are today getting pledge files from depository almost till late night 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we try to incorporate all those pledges and give the sec pledge. So that's why we are trying to ensure that as much possible pledges on the same day benefit can be passed on. So that's why these files comes late in the night. Maybe that may not be, so we don't want to discontinue that and we want to continue that giving benefit till late in the night. But maybe the second suggestion of trying to provide information as to how much pledge values we are giving or how much valuations benefit we are giving, if we can provide that also real time after market hours. So today, the cash non-cash valuations we are providing real time in NMAS up till 4 o'clock. We will try and see if we can increase that information time till maybe late in the night till 7:38. Also, if we can update those numbers, we will work on that, sir.
Okay. This is of course a slightly related point, but the problem is, the CC is giving, and this problem is coming more for people who are having their SCM in cash market and clearing through some clearing member. Many times from the clearing members, they are not getting this file, and for clearing members also, the actually challenge is similar, that the file which you give is at 11 p.m. so they have to process and give, and they are not able to give on the same day. So maybe if you will give a real-time file, the clearing members will also be able to generate and share with the members concerned.
Yeah. So on NMAS, actually on NMAS, the TMs are getting those values. So moment if we are able to give that information, TMs can directly take it from NMAS.
Okay. So the next issue is related to the intraday stock pledge turnaround times. So right now, a lot of members complain that this time is an indeterminate number. Can we have a determinate number, like a 15-minute batch at most, to ensure that what we pledge intraday, we know after 15 minutes we get the benefit?
So, sir, there is no real-time connectivity or real-time information flowing between depositories and CC. It is all batch process. We are getting the files from depository on an hourly interval, and then we take some amount of time to process it. So that's why that time lag will continue unless and until we have some real-time information sharing between the CCs and depositories. So currently, approximately, so the max range which can happen is around 90 minutes, because the time gap between the depository and CC itself is 60 minutes. And we take around 20-25 minutes, and on an outer side, 30 minutes to process that file. So we may not be able to give a definite time, but we will definitely work with depository and see whether we can reduce the batch timings.
So we approached CDSL, and CDSL was okay to generate a 15-minute batch. They said we can generate a batch as frequent as the CC wants us to.
So we will have an internal discussion, because it should be feasible also to keep on loading so many files. So we will have an internal discussion and check on that feasibility, and then approach the depository for the switch.
Right, because we also found that NSDL was not so faster in its cycle, but CDSL was willing to accommodate a 15-minute batch. So maybe if at least wherever it is possible, those cases, if you can accommodate, because we are going real time. So I mean, 15-minute is the kind of outer limit, because working capital, position limit, so many other things are related. Just as you take 25 minutes to process, even our front ends will take time to process after you give us the confirmation.
Sure, sir, we'll look into it.
And on the related question, what you give on the NMAS is a real time. So because the problem is, supposing the client has pledged certain securities, but there is a symbol wise limit restriction, and I am not getting benefit, all that information is available real time now in NMAS?
So the soon as we update real time in terms means not in the real time when you pledge in depository, but yeah, once we have processed it in our system, we update it on NMAS. So two information we give, value wise information also we give, but that is consolidated across all the stocks, how much non-cash value are giving. And to take care of the limit wise information, we are already giving one data in NMAS where you can see for a client, for an ISN, how much quantity you have pledged and how much quantity benefit has been given. So that basically, in case you have given some pledges, but you are not getting benefit, you will be able to come to know, you can come to know from that information from the reports. So that information is already available on NMAS.
Okay, because you see, now there is a problem, because now we have to then take that report, the front end has to take that report, account for that, and then provide limits. Earlier it was end of day, so it didn't make any difference if that report was not kind of integrated. But now we will need a security wise value of breakup from the report which you are giving. Supposing you are saying you are giving me 1 lakh credit, I will need a breakup also of that 1 lakh credit.
So quantity we are giving, sir. For which quantity, how many shares we are giving? Value we are not giving, because the value can valuation would be a difficult, because all 50-50 and all those rules come which are dynamic. So quantity we are giving. So if you pledge 100 shares, if there is a member-wise limit or a market-wise limit is used, and you are getting only 50 ka benefit, we will tell you that you have given 100 and 50 is what we are giving you the benefit.
So, I mean, the problem is it is eventually an integrated view which we need for allowing limits on the front end. That is where the challenge is coming.
So the consolidated valuation in terms of full total non-cash value, how much is that? That is available, sir, at the client level information.
No. Actually, you see, the problem is there are two types of front end logics. One logic is actually based at Eisen level, wherein I am able to upload the pledge information and the front end computes as per whatever is the logic predefined. The other are front end which simply take the value and treat it as a fund and give limit accordingly. So the second ones will be able to solve for easily. The first
one, sir, for first one we are giving the quantity, sir. Like I said, we are giving two information. One is at a client level, the total value of cash and non-cash. And second, at a client security level, quantity wise, how much we have received and how much benefit we are giving.
Okay, so I'll just note and we'll proceed because we have so many issues to resolve. The next issue is related to the movement of pledged stocks which are pledged across all segments. Now the problem is you have defined a sequence of preference of which segment that will be, the benefit will be passed in, and that sequence is across all customers. Whereas there are certain clients who trade in F&O, certain clients who trade in cash market, or certain clients who may be trading in currency. So is it possible to define the sequence UCC level?
So currently not, sir, at UCC level, but we are taking care, at least in terms of penalty computation, we are taking care that if there is any excess collateral lying in one segment when we take the snapshot, that will be given a credit for and the short penalty will not be levied, sir.
No, that we understand, but here there is a question that the process flow is such that I know that X customer trades in F&O and I want all stock added in his case to by default go in F&O. But there is another customer who does in cash market. I want by default the stock for him to go to in cash market.
So that facility at a client level is currently not there, sir. We will try and check on the feasibility of the same.
Okay. So you are saying the segment-wise collateral value is now available through the API or through a batch file report?
No, sir. On NMAS it is so NMAS the information is available. You can download it, sir, as a CSV.
So the next question is related to collateral movement across segment or across CC. Say for example, cases when a member is SCM in cash market and trading member in F&O or in MCX. I mean, because now we have to do real-time allocation, how much time will you take to release the stock? Supposing my client wants to now trade in cash market instead of F&O where I have pledged it to a clearing member. Supposing the clearing member has also sent the request. How long will you take to release it so that I can then again repledge it directly into the cash market or vice versa?
So that, sir, will continue as batch which are there currently. We are not changing anything. Like we said, the depository interface is a batch one and we will continue to do that as batch, sir. We'll again, like we will discuss with depository and see how best we can reduce the batch time. But here also, even if at least for all the reasons which you have told, so let's assume there are stock pledge in F&O segment and the member is clearing through a PCM and the client sells in the cash market and there is or buys in the cash market and there is a margin requirement. We are going to use the value of that F&O collateral security and consider it towards the CM margin, at least for purpose of penalty. Similarly, let's assume you trade in other CC, you can report that excess collateral was lying with other CC. So all those exceptions, at least for penalty, there will be no penalty instance will coming for these type of things because we have provided exceptions for them, sir.
I appreciate there is no penalty, that reason code is existing, but the point is actually it blocks members' working capital to a very significant level. And therefore,
that I beg to differ, but this is the same which is there currently. It has nothing to do with the Feb 1 implementation, sir.
I agree, sir, but even the current implementation is not satisfactory level. That is why it will become even more acute as we go forward. You know, the problem today is because it's the end of day, I really don't face a challenge where I have received, for example, non-pledgeable collateral. I don't need to allocate specifically, but now I will have to allocate specifically before his order. So I will be even tighter for working capital. In such a scenario, every extra money which is getting blocked is a problem for the members.
So, sir, like I said, we will check with the depository as to how we can happen, because currently, like both additions as well as releases are in batch form only, sir.
Okay. So the next point is actually, where we have pledged some stock, but the benefit is not being passed on because there is a CC level symbol-wise limit. When the upfront allocation penalty is being computed, can we have a reason code to say that, because this stock is already pledged with CC and it is verifiable as an audit trail with you, those cases at least we don't undergo a penalty.
So in the current scheme of things which have been approved for the schemes and exception, it is not there. And this has been again type of exception which should be permitted have been, deliberated and finalized long back along with consultation with SEBI. So, any change in that may require us to go back to SEBI, sir. So we'll have to check, sir.
Sai, but can you take it up, because this is a very common problem which members have, and it is actually a big problem because dynamically allocating before every order, specifically if the client has pledged but the limit has not come from CC, is administratively very challenging.
Yes, with respect to this pledge stocks which are not given limit from CC, in the sense from exchange perspective, we cannot comment on it, because for online margin verification of clients with respect to pledge stocks, we are directly taking valuation from the depositories and not from the CC given limits. So for upfront allocation and penalties, CC should comment on it.
Okay, so maybe then we can also try to take up with the regulator and explain the problem. So
Yes.
okay, so I think whatever issues I had received prior to the webinar, I have completed those issues. If any of my fellow colleagues want to take up a few questions, they can just, Vadaji, perhaps you can moderate how you want to go about that.
Yeah. So thank you, Virendraji, for taking it, and thanks to the team at NCL and NSE. Shivkumarji, you have any issue to raise here?
No, I think it's fine. I think payment gateways is the major thing where the limits get updated automatically. How we will update it in the front end so that the clients do not suffer. That is the only issue. Or alternatively, TAT for the client funds, because we have to allocate at that time. We don't know where from the funds will come in. If there could be a reason code for the payment gateways, because the funds are clear, they are in the transit, it has been received. If there could be a reason code for the payment gateway.
नहीं, वो कह रहे हैं ना जी, आपको भी आपके पास फंड्स भले ही शाम को आए, वो आपको कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है. That was asked in the first.
No, but I think how do I allocate to the client? Okay, fine, understood. Okay, fine.
हाँ, ये तो हमने क्लियर कर दिया सर.
हाँ जी sir, sorry. I think fine from my side, Virendra ji.
Ajay Gargji, you highlighted few of the changes required from the trading platform also. For all the members, can you highlight those issues which we have to take up with the trading platform? Ajay ji?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, like, which point, Wadwaji, have you mentioned here?
Trading platform changes which are required for this implementation of this circular.
So, I think like I have worked, like we do have the 63 moves as our vendor, and a couple of more vendors are there. So we have spoken to them. The kind of note which they have given currently is majorly it is focusing on that the broker would provide segment-wise limit. So, but for the client convenience, we have to provide the all exchange limit. So if the fund is available, say 10 lakh rupees is available, so client should be able to use the fund in all the segments. So for that, like we have even suggested them some mechanism wherein like the allocation should happen, say out of 10 lakh rupees which is lying with the broker, and say 6 lakhs is already allocated. Then while placing the transaction, the system should check that is it going to breach 6 lakh rupees which has already been allocated, whether it is cash or non-cash. If the requirement is more than 6 lakhs, then only it should allocate in the respective clearing corporation, and it should happen seamlessly. But for that they need either some APIs or the some workaround has to be done. So I think it requires some joint meeting with the clearing corporation. Without that, these issues cannot be resolved.
So we'll plan one joint meeting with the CCs, all CCs. Varendraji is going to ICCL tomorrow, so he'll try to fix it with the ICCL also. And I'll request Varinder Arora ji. He had certain issues to be raised. Varinder ji, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Regarding payment gateway, I have a request that some of the aggregators like Tech Process, they are giving you the credit of the payments received before 3:30 p.m. on the same day itself. So it will be very, very like inconvenient for the members and clients to like allocate first against each and every payments received through online payment gateways. So it is going to hamper the business badly. So if we are getting, if the Tech Process, the payment gateway aggregator is ensuring us that all the payments transferred before 3:30 p.m. will be credited into our bank on the same day itself. So it should be like the reason code should be allowed, so that at the end of the day we'll be able to update the CC that these payments were like transferred by the client and received in the bank. So there should be no need of the pre-allocation. Otherwise, we have to stop all. We have to make the changes, get the changes done from all CTCL vendors that the online payment should not be considered for limits till the time of allocation. And regarding the early paying, although Mr. Saikiran has confirmed that they will get back, so I would like to request once again that the benefit of 80% of early paying for the buying and for F&O as well would be like highly appreciated if they come up with the positive response. And regarding the span files, I think Virender Mansukhani ji has raised the point of in case margin increased if in case margin increases in the subsequent files, then Mr. Huzaifa has confirmed that that will be like blocked from proprietary funds, and there will be no penalty if the margin is available as per the BOD files. But I think we have missed one point here, that if the margin reduces in the subsequent files, all the CTCL vendors are not ready with the provision of charging higher of the two. Like say, if for example, if margin reduces from 100 to 80 from file number 3, So CTCL software will automatically allow the client to take the position against the available margin of 20. And for as per BOD, the margin requirement will become 120 instead of 100. So we will not be able to show the CC that we are like having 120 margin. So I think margins increased due to the reduction of margin in subsequent files. That should also be like the reason code should also be provided for that also. And similarly for unhedging, suppose at the time of taking the position by the client, the margin was available, but due to unhedging by the client, because again all the CTCL vendors are not ready with the feature of restricting unhedging without having the sufficient margin. So either CC and exchanges should make sure that all the CTCL vendors are ready with both these features. Unless all the vendors are not ready with both these two features, that the member should not be penalized for that. And one more query is there for EDIS, whether for the EDIS, for the sales against EDIS, whether we have to allocate first or they will consider EDIS just like early pains. And as Mansukhani ji mentioned that segment-wise blocking of funds from proprietary funds will be going to be a big pain. So I would like to request CC here that kindly consider and kindly develop some kind of system that across all these segments, at least within one CC, they should develop some system that should consider the surplus collaterals lying in other segments dynamically rather than blocking funds from proprietary collaterals. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Virendraji. Mr. Huzaifa, would you like to comment on any of the issues raised by Virendraji?
So, sir, the CTCL, I would not like to comment because that's not in our hand, because those are the checks which have to be having or may have to be developed at some point of time. For EDIs, I would like to clarify if the blocking happens with the EPI flag mark, and if the EPI is received before the trade, there will be no margin. If EPI is received after the trade, like I explained in the earlier part, there will be a short allocation, but you can report it as reason code 02 that EPI was done subsequent to the trade. So EDIS marked as with a EPI flag Y is almost similar to EPI only, sir, and same treatment can be done.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Huzaifa. So it was a wonderful program today. More than 100 people joined us on YouTube also. So we are, for the information of members, we are doing this webinar for next 2 Mondays at 5 o'clock for the benefit of members. So do join us for the next 2 Mondays also if you have any issues to be addressed. Now I request Mr. Sabharwal to propose a vote of thanks, formal vote of thanks to all the participants and the speakers. Mr. Sabharwal. Mr. Sabharwal. Mr. Sabharwal, I request you to please propose a vote of thanks to the speakers and the participants, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Anji, before I give a formal vote of thanks, I will like to inform the all honorable members that CPI is going to have 3 seminars on EGR Gold. This is first seminar is on 18th at Hotel Renai, Cochin from 6:30 p.m. onwards. followed by dinner. The second seminar is on 19th at Hotel Radisson Blue, Bengaluru from 4:30 p.m. onwards, followed by high tea. And the third seminar is in Hyderabad in the Hotel D Plaza on 20th January from 6:30 p.m. onwards, followed by the dinner. In all these three seminars, the representative of SEBI, BSC, NSDL, and CDSL will be present. We are requested to the Finance Ministry also to send their representatives, and by tomorrow morning we likely to hear from the Finance Ministry that at the Kochi seminar as well as the seminar at Bengaluru, the Finance Ministry representative is also likely to be there. So I request all honorable members that are the members who have branches in these cities of Cochin on 18th, Bengaluru on 19th. To be there. And now, formally, I thanks all the speakers from the Clearing Corporation, Mr. Vikram Kothari, Mr. Hofeza and their team, and from the NSC, the Renu Bandari and her team for attending, for addressing the problems of the members. And we are thankful to the members, especially those more than 100 in numbers on those who have joined us on the YouTube. We will be having our next this session on coming Monday, 23rd. So any other suggestions, oblique questions, member can forward it to the CPAI. Thanks to the participant as well as the speakers. And special thanks to Mr. Virendra Mansukhani, our past alternate president, for compiling it and putting forward it in such a nice way. Over to you, Mr. Wadhwa.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So here we conclude our webinar for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.